Dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome in my YouTube channel Practical Civil Engineers. Today I am going to discuss a very important topic regarding slabs, types of slab, load mechanism on slab, and reinforcement used in different type of slabs. So let's start from the slab. That what is slab? So slabs are constructed to provide a flat surface, usually horizontal, in building floors, roofs, etc. So slabs may be supported by walls or by columns or by reinforced concrete beams, etc. Usually cast monolithically with slab. So what is monolithically? Monolithically is in which beams and slabs may pour with concrete at the same time. That is called monolithically. Slabs are classified into two major types. One is called one-way slab, the second one is called two-way slab. So one-way slab is normally use such type of span in which its length and its width ratio are more than 2 or equal to 2. So one-way slab, what is one-way slab? One-way slab is supported by beams on the two opposite sides to carry the load along one direction. Let's suppose this is a type of slab. The red one is slab and the black one are its supports. So the slab bend downside, in only one direction, in this direction. This longitudinal side is okay. This longitudinal side is okay, but the lateral side, but the longitudinal side, this one bend downward. So this is called a one-way slab. So definition of one-way slab is that the ratio of the longer span, which is called L, the ratio of the longer span to the shorter span. This one is the longer side, and this one is the shorter side B. This is called L, this is called B. So the ratio of longer span to shorter span breadth means B is equal to or greater than 2. The value of 2 is called one-way slab. So one-way slab is essentially act as a shallow beam. This is a shallow beam with a large width. This one, so let's suppose this is the width of the beam and this is the length of the beam. So the slab supported on all floor sides also behave as one-way slab if the larger span ratio to shorter span is greater than 2. So it means that the ratio between the longer span and to the shorter span must be greater than 2 or equal to 2. So this is called one-way slab. So the next one is the two-way slab. So two-way slab is supported by beams on all the floor side and the loads are carried by the supports along with both direction. So means that loads are acting also in this direction and also in this direction and also in this direction, also in this direction. So one-way slab, so two-way slab is a slab which is supported by beams on all the four sides. This is also a support type of support. Let's suppose this is beam. Let's suppose this is one is also beam. Here is also beam. Here is also a beam. So beams on all its four sides, and the loads are carried by the supports along with both direction. Means these supports also take load. These supports also take load. So these are two supports and these are also two supports. So there are four supports which are taking loads. So two-way slab, the ratio between of longer span, let's suppose this is the longer span and this one is the shorter span. So the ratio between the longer span to the shorter span is less than 2 is called uh, two-way slab. So reinforcement detail for one-way slab. Which type of reinforcement will be used in one-way slab and how we can provide a reinforcement in one-way slab. So the reinforcement must be provided in this shape if the slab is one-way slab. So let's we start that if you want to provide reinforcement in a one-way slab, so you must follow these instructions. In one-way slab, you know that two two sides two side of the slab, the loads will be distributed on two sides. Means it's shorter side. Means it's shorter side. So let's suppose this is the longitudinal side, means length. This is the shorter side. So the steel provided as a main bar will be laid down first, and there will be used there will be bend up bar. There will be bend up bar in the shorter span, which is called crank bar, and parallel to its longitudinal side, its length side. So we will provide a steel. So we will provide a steel steel having no bend up bars, because in one way slab bend up bar must be provided on the beam sides. So this is one way slab. So ratio of this slab, so longitudinal side to its shorter side. So longitudinal side is 8 meter and its shorter side is 3 meter. So the ratio between the longitudinal and the shorter side is 2.66. So this value is greater than 2. Hence we know we know that this slab is one way slab, because the ratio between its longer and shorter sides are greater than 2. So now two-way slab reinforcement detail. So the steel used in both directions must have bend ups, because of that two-way slab transfer its load on all its four sides. Let's we suppose this is the length of the slab, this is the width of the slab, this is the longitudinal side, this is the shorter side. So we will find the ratio between these two. So 5 divided by 5 is equal to 1. So you know that this value is less than 2. So when the value when the ratio between longer span and shorter span is less than 2, so this slab will be called two-way slab. So this is called two-way slab. Now the load transfer mechanism of two-way slab. The load transfer mechanism of two-way slab. So this is the ratio to the longitudinal side to the lateral side is which is greater than 2, which is called one-way slab. So in one-way slab you know that loads will be transferred only in two direction. Load will be transferred in only two direction, which is which is perpendicular which is parallel to its the loads will be parallel to its shorter side. This is the shorter side and these loads are parallel to shorter side. So in two-way slab the ratio between longitudinal and its the ratio between its longitudinal and its shorter span is less than 2. So the loads transfer mechanism will be the load will be transferred in all the four sides. So in two-way slab it's all the four sides and the load are carried by the supports along with both direction. This is in one direction means up and down. This is in only one direction, which is shorter, which is lateral side or vertical side. But in two-way slab the load carried by the slab will transfer its load on the beams to its all four sides, or both sides. This is one side and this is its the other sides. So loads are also transferring vertically and horizontally. So this is our today lecture. If this lecture is helpful, so kindly subscribe the channel and press the bell icon for more updates. Thank you.